Le Mans Ultimate has had a bit of a shaky release, but ever since its release, it's been releasing constant updates and ironing out loads of bugs. So LMU recently has really changed its appearance. Now today, Studio 397 and Le Mans Ultimate have just released Pack 3 for Le Mans Ultimate. Count how many times I'm going to say Le Mans Ultimate in this video. But the pack includes 3 GT3 cars and 1 new track to race at. Now the 3 cars being the Ferrari 296, the BMW M4 GT3 and the Corvette Z06, all GT3 spec'd. And the racetrack that's been added to the game is Interlagos, an amazing racetrack. And along with all of these updates, there's a load of backend and also a Racecontrol.gg website which they've launched, which is really cool and just ties everything together. So before we get into the update itself, Studio 397 released this huge public patch notes available on their Discord, but I just thought it'd be better to go through on this video. We won't go through everything because there is a lot on the list, but notably the ones at the top are headlines, updates, and content itself. So it's probably best that we just go through these. So as you can see, there's improvements to AI tire temperature simulation, resulting in better correlation to player tire warm-up. VR support has become a lot better now. You don't have to do some weird hacky code to actually enable VR. It just works straight out the box. Large-scale memory usage optimizations resulting in higher FPS during more contested scenes. So obviously the more cars, hopefully you should have higher FPS. Something that I lack in quite a lot actually during an iRacing. If you have like 20 or 30 car field, you can lose like probably 50% of your FPS. So it'll be interesting to see how LMU compares to iRacing when you have a full field in front of you and behind you in your mirrors. Improved texture loading performance with improvements of around 30%, which is good. We like that kind of stuff. A new online menu, improved event lobby screen for all online modes, added the ability to host your own lobbies via Racecontrol.gg. Like I mentioned, Racecontrol.gg is like their central hub for everything now. So you can find updates for the game there, you can host your servers from there, and you can see the next races or the next online sessions for the races that you can take part in. Online championships feature for Racecontrol Pro. There is a whole subscription model that they released for Racecontrol. I'll put it on the screen now, but it's basically like a tiering system. So if you wanted to take part in championships or like more competitive ranked events, then you can become like Racecontrol Pro members. So there is a bit of a subscription model leaking into LMU, but for the most part, the game is kind of just paid updates and just a one-time purchase, unlike other subscriptions we won't even mention. A daily race future event access and practice for, again, Racecontrol Pro. HTML broadcast overlay system with WEC styling, which is really cool. So if you're streaming and using OBS, you can take this kind of overlay and the URL that it'll give you, paste it into OBS, and it'll give you live telemetry from the cars and whoever you're spectating. So you can do your own broadcast for your tournaments or your own championships with kind of WEC style fonts and all that kind of stuff on your OBS, which is super cool. And AMD memory leaks, which happened quite a lot. And now headlines for the content. Obviously the McLaren 720S GT3, which is a free DLC. Everyone who has the game right now will have a free GT3 car to race. And this is similar to iRacing. You don't need to own all of the cars in order to take part of races. You could just own one car, which you will, which is the 720S, and take part in races which have the GT3s or like mixed fields. Added the Corvette Z06 GT3, M4 and Ferrari 296 and Interlagos. They've also done tyre and aero updates. The edge on both tyre and aero has been softened. Locking the brakes, especially at the front, is now less easy. There is a little bit more grip at higher speeds and a less aggressive drop-off when at or slightly over the limit. And tyre physics, adjusted temperature warm-up curve to provide less grip at low tyre temperatures. Adjusted grip drop-off with temperature and pressure sensitivity based on slip. Slightly less aggressive curve. So with this game, in similar how it is to real life, you don't have tire blankets. Apparently, I think it's just at Le Mans where they have tire blankets, but in all the other races, you won't have tire blankets. So coming out the pits is going to be a struggle when we jump into the cars. None of the cars are going to have warm tires or anything like that. So the first few laps of racing or even practicing are going to be pretty dull because I think everyone's just going to be taking it, or you should be taking it quite easy because you're going to have stone cold tires. But you know, there are people who think that they can win it in turn 1, lap 1, so we shall see about that. And like I mentioned, there is a whole heap of updates and changes, and so if you want to read all of this, they'll be in the description below. So like I mentioned, they've got their own website now, which is Racecontrol.gg. This is their central hub where everything for Le Mans Ultimate and RF2 apparently is going to live, so which is quite cool. You can see all the news and updates, and Racecontrol.gg is where you can see all of the daily races coming up, which is pretty cool. The only thing I've noticed so far that it isn't in order. So you have intermediate, advanced, beginner, and then intermediate, beginner, advanced. So it's a bit of a mix right now. I don't know if probably just a beta thing at the moment. But yeah, it's pretty cool how you can see the next track and the next cars and what time, importantly, it is. Personally, I would prefer it just to be static. I don't really like how, for example, now you can't really see anything. So you just have to sit here and wait for it to eventually show up, which I hope it will. So if I literally looked at the website now and I had it minimized and I wanted to know when the next race was, there we go. So it's at 1:07 p.m. and then it says 2:37, 4:07. I like this style, but I don't know if it's really kind of the best to just look at information on a glance. So if I just look at this website now and I'm like, oh, when's the next race? I have to wait through for each individual time to scroll through and then decide when the next closest race that I can take part in. So maybe just like a list underneath them of when the next races are, and then as each race goes past, maybe it gets like a strike through or something like that. But you get the idea. So if you want to check on daily races, or you want to check what race you can do next, or what you can practice for in 2 hours if you've got some free time coming up, you can just head to Racecontrol GG and just look at everything here. And obviously they've got their tie-in with SimGrid, which is cool. So if you want community events, if you're a streamer or a content creator and you want to do races with your community, and you want to do a mixed grid, or you want to do just the Ferraris or whatever, you can do your custom events here. They have mentioned that you can start renting and hosting servers. So tied in with SimGrid, you can create your own events and race with your community, which is pretty cool. And obviously you can get involved with other communities again, which is very cool. So yeah, Racecontrol is a really good bonus for the game. I think it's finally good that they have something rather than just the game itself. Obviously a lot of people might be on the move and stuff nowadays. Mobile phones, laptops, you don't really have chance to open the game every time you want to check what the race is, or, oh, I've got some free time in 2 or 3 hours time. When's the next race that I can practice for? So finally, you can just head to racecontrol.gg and just check when the next race is. So yeah, let's purchase the DLC, let's jump in the rig, and let's check out all the cars on the new Interlagos track. Okay, so welcome to LMU. You can see everything here. So we've got online with the fancy new symbol next to it. So this is the whole online UI now. This has been completely reworked to what it was previously, and I really like it. So at the top, you have your profile here. You can see like your quick look at some statistics there. You have your online championships. So this is what I mentioned at the start. This is where you have to have Racecontrol Pro though. So don't think I'm going to get access, but let's take a look. I don't know if it's up yet or if it's not up. There's no championships, but yeah, I think you have to be a Racecontrol Pro member to see any of this. But this is where you'll see like actual championships, and I think they said that you can only have like one shot at some championships and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, and I'm interested to see how competitive it's going to be, and if any kind of competition is going to get involved in it. And then down the middle, we have our daily, weekly, and special events, which is nicely organized and laid out. So your dailies, hopefully if there's no problems, should be up and running. So you've got your GT3 fixed at Spa, and then I think literally back to back now you can do racing. So it says it starts at 1:30, this starts in 15 minutes. So I think you can do back to back racing now. Then you have GT3s at Algarve. This is for beginner. You have your different license levels up top. So if you're intermediate, you can go here. Then you got your 499p fix with your GT3 Sprint Cup. Then your advanced races, the Hyper Sprint, and then one stint sprint, and then your schedule here. So this is the better layout I like. So anyone from Studio 397 listening, I would personally try and look at implementing something like this onto racecontrol.gg, because like I mentioned earlier, like sitting there and waiting for the whole thing to scroll past you, I don't know, it's just, you just want information at a flash, right? If you're quick, you just want it to be quick information delivered to you. You know, you want to look at it for a flash. Oh, the next session is 12:45 or whatever, I can enter and participate. You just want the information like that, and you can see that it's grayed out. So obviously I can't take part in 11:15 or 12 o'clock. So I think something like this might be better. It's also pretty cool how there's a time zone here. And at the top, you have your different navigation bars. So for the weekly races, I'm yet to take part in any of these because I don't have a license level yet. I'm trying to grind up in there. But yeah, you have your weekly race here as well. And then you have your special events, which if I am correct, they happen on like weekends and stuff like that. So I look forward to grinding my license level a bit so I can take part in these, because these look pretty cool, to be fair.
So that's the online UI getting a complete rework. So if you were clicking into a race session as well, you can see everyone that's taking part in it. You can see their safety rating and their driver rating. You can see the different weather configuration, which is quite nice as well. And you can see the whole configuration for the actual session. So fuel is realistic, tire wear is realistic, unlimited sets of tires. So yeah, that's the whole online section of the UI reworked. I really, really like that. A really good one. If you look at your statistics as well, this was the same as before, but you can see that I'm a Racecontrol Lite, which is the free one. You can see your history and you can view all your results and your driver ranking and rating and your statistics and all of that. I think these are, yeah, and you can see all your event history and your stats in different pages as well if you wanted to see that too, which is really nice. And the hosted section, let's see if this is up yet. Wow, okay. So that people already made hosted sessions and you can literally host your own. Let's see. Just brings up the web browser and you just do it through the Racecontrol website, which is going to be pretty self-explanatory. But awesome to see people are making use of it already. There's already servers up. And they mentioned, which is a pretty cool feature, that you can literally just give your stream or different creators or whoever, your friends, just a lobby code. And then you can just, you know, I think it's like 5 or 6 characters. You enter that into here and it puts you straight into the lobby rather than like, oh, can you guys find my server at all? Or this and that. You know, it just simplifies everything. And a nice little UI change. Yeah, really, really nice. Like everything is baked into the game now, which is really cool. And you also have the option to do it through racecontrol.gg. And let's take the cars, the new GT3 cars, for a spin at Interlagos. So we have Interlagos here. In the bottom left, you have your Hypercar, LMP2, and GT3. So I think they've completely got rid of GTE now. Anyway, we have the BMW M4 GT3. We have the Corvette Z06 GT3. We have the Ferrari 296. And the free McLaren 720S. All of them have their individual liveries and different events that they ran at, which is pretty nice. We'll start off with the BMW, and of course we have to go with the 46. And they don't even have his driver picture, which is sad as well. But yeah, let's take the BMW for a spin, and let's go to Interlagos. We'll take 25% of a tank, which is 8.3 laps. The BMW is known, I think, in all of racing and sim racing to not sound the best. I think it's just been that car, you get what I mean? But I'll put some offboards of the car after a few laps just so you guys get an idea of what it sounds. But yeah, like sound-wise, I don't think it's the most amazing sound. But now I'm not exactly... The cold tires thing is very true. The car feels absolutely horrible out the pits, but let's skip a few laps because it's going to take me a few laps to actually warm up the tires on this car. As you can see in the bottom right, they're still stone cold, and if I open up the tire dash, they're at 42 degrees on the left hand side. So we'll fast forward a few laps and hopefully I can give you guys a bit more of a fast and push lap. All right, so 3 laps later, you guys can already see on the dash there's a huge improvement in time, but the progression of the tires really coming alive is really true. Like I really kind of feel it and see it. Obviously on the first outlap, you guys probably saw me, the car was probably just a slidey and horrible mess. But after like 2 or 3 laps, you can see the tires are not the most optimal temperature. We've only got the right to the 77 and the front left and the rear left at 68 and 70. So they're not exactly optimal temperatures, but you can start to trust and feel the car a lot more. Gauged and gathered so far on my Fanatec CSL DD. This is the 8Nm version. It's really nice. You feel really connected to the car, really planted, especially at like corners like that where there's a dip in the road and something like that. You can really feel the weight transfer and the shift of the car on tight hairpins like that. It's really, really, really nice. Again, the BMW doesn't exactly have the best sound. I'm sure from the offboard cameras, it probably doesn't sound amazing as well. But like as a feeling and sensation to drive, it's really nice. But yeah, that's a lap of the BMW M4 GT3 at Interlagos. It's really, really nice. I like it. We'll check out all the other cars now. Okay, so finally, 3 laps later, we have, well, I would say some warm tyres, but they're definitely not, but they're warmer than when we first came out of the box. And Sunset Bend is still as tricky as ever. Obviously, the sound is not the most, it's not the most impressive. I'm not too sure. I've never heard the Z06 in real life, so I can't really say how accurate it sounds or not. I have heard most of the cars in real life, but I've never heard the Z06. But again, I don't want to take away from the main topic of this video to just check out the new stuff. I don't want to give you guys an in-depth review and is the FFB accurately modeled and how is the tire physics and all of this. I just want to check out the new content for you. But so far, these cars are really awesome. I mean, it's nice to just drive current spec cars. But yeah, the cars are really nice. It's current date now as well. And it's also got cars that you can't drive in any other sims, which is really cool. Examples like the Toyota and Alpine hypercars, as it stands currently, can't be driven in any other sims. So yeah, I think this game is some competition in the sim racing market, which is what we need. Consumers win at the end of the day when there's more competition. And welcome to the Ferrari 296 at Spa. So let's hear the car turning on. It's almost like it's non-existent, but hey, I guess V6. Alright, so 2 laps later, I wouldn't say we have the warmest of tyres, but we have something at least. And immediately, I can tell you, I don't know if it was to do with the Corvette, maybe my force feedback profile that I was running is just not correct, but immediately I feel so much more connected with this Ferrari than I was with the Corvette. Just feeling a lot more information in heavy, fast corners like Pouhon, especially Eau Rouge. Get a lot of force feedback coming through the wheel, and you just feel a lot more connected. So I don't know if it is the Corvette, I don't know if it's the feedback profile itself, but let's not dive away from the main topic at hand, which is the new content, and the Ferrari is awesome. Probably my favorite car. So yeah, the Ferrari 296 is probably my favorite car to drive on iRacing, and driving it here, it's a really, really nice sensation. I like it. The sound, especially in the higher revs, is very nice. The only thing I've noticed so far, I don't know if it's correct or if it's how it's meant to be, but the lights on the rev lights on the dashboard, if I'm correct, from the Ferrari 296 manual on iRacing anyway, which I think is made with information on the manual from the real life 296, is you're meant to shift when all of the lights turn red. But in some of the gears, you don't even get there, so I don't know if the LEDs need to be looked at. I don't know if the ratios need to be adjusted with the LEDs or whatever. I don't know if even that's correct, but it's just something for someone to hopefully listen, hear, and look at. But yeah, the car itself, awesome, amazing. I really hope they kind of change a few things on the dashboards. Some of the contrast and reading some of the text is not super clear at a quick glance. So I think if they could just do some contrast settings or make the text a bit bit whiter and the background's darker, just so they pop a bit more. But I really like it. The sound of it, the interior, everything is so nicely done. Driving it, you can feel the sensations that it definitely is a mid-engine car, but definitely so far my favorite car that I think we've driven. But coming up, we got the last free car, which is the McLaren 720S, and we'll take it for a spin on a track. But so far, the Ferrari, I think, is winning the contest. And last but not least, we have the McLaren 720S GT3. Now, I know James Baldwin helped out quite a lot with the development of this car, so I think he's the man that you want to ask about its sound and how it feels, but as a first impression, I like it. I like it quite a lot. So 2 warm-up laps later, finally the McLaren is in a position where you can actually drive it around corners, and again, really, really nice. With the Ferrari, I feel really connected. I like the force feedback from the car. It's really, really nice. I don't know if it was just something with the Corvette or some settings. I'm not too sure. But yeah, really like the McLaren as well. Again, the interior is so nicely modeled with obviously the Bosch rear view camera as well. Looking the dash. Everything on the dash this time is really nice and readable. But I really, really like this car. I really like the sound of it. I'm not too sure if it's accurate or anything like that, but the LED lights as well work perfectly. Really, really, really nice. And obviously we are at Fuji Speedway right now, which has a incredibly technical Sector 3, but you feel like you can just push just a bit more. It's a bit of a different drive, obviously, compared to other simulators, but I really like the way that GT3s are driving, and especially I think after 5 or 6 laps, when you get proper warm tires and in the window, I think they'll be really enjoyable, and I think you'll really get to kind of almost like hack away at the wheel, trying to get round corners. And I know that's not exactly how these cars are meant to be driven. I think smooth is faster in these cars, but it's a really, really nice driving experience, these cars. And yeah, I really, really like these cars. So far, I think all the cars they've done are really well. I wasn't the huge fan of the Corvette itself. I think out of all the cars so far that we've driven, I think the Corvette is definitely ranked last, but yeah, the BMW is definitely third, and I think these two are like a tied first place. I really like the Ferrari and the McLaren, both really, really nice cars, and brings us to end of all the DLC cars, but I really like them. It's a positive change for this game, and like I said, competition is good. Well, that's the end of the video. We checked out all the content that was on offer. We checked out the free McLaren 720S, and we checked out the Ferrari, Corvette, and BMW, which you can purchase in pack free. We also checked out Interlagos, and like I said, really positive update. It's kind of modernizing the game and bringing it up to date with everything else. Obviously, all the other simulators currently running GT3s right now, so puts it on the same level. Really positive update, and I really am looking forward to the future of Le Mans Ultimate. I would only say right now, it's not going to pull me away from my other simulator, iRacing, just because of the whole online driver swap things. iRacing, to me, is super popular because of its online endurances. You know, your 3 hours, your 6 hours, 12s, whatever you want to do, your 24s, your 23s. And online driver swaps, I think, is crucial in endurance races. Well, it's mandatory, because without that, you can't really do any driver swaps. So right now, the only alternative Le Mans Ultimate has to that is the offline driver swaps through co-op, which is nice, but yeah, I think the one thing that this game is missing, which I really hope they bring in the future, will be online driver swaps. Then I really think it's going to be some serious competition in the online sim racing market for sure, especially how they have the whole WEC branding and they have the whole WEC license. So obviously they can run the virtual Le Mans series and they can do it on different tracks than the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see the future of this game. Yeah, like I said, really positive update. I really will be hopefully streaming and playing a lot more Le Mans Ultimate and investing a bit more time. Hopefully they can bring in online driver swaps and make it a bit more online multiplayer focused. The next update, I think they have said it is going to be a focus for them. So hopefully we can see that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd hope you guys drop a like on it. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this DLC. If you've purchased it or not, I'll be interested to hear your opinions. And hit the subscribe button to make sure you never miss future videos on my channel. That's all from me today, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Take care and peace.